Yeah, we fell short. I'll say I gave probably incorrect instruction to the men. They followed my race plan, and we were winning the race through 3K, maybe even closer to 4K. But we went out a little too hard, a little too aggressive, and we paid for it at the end. It was a lot more muddy than we expected, and we actually had one or two guys take diggers in the race. So that affected a couple things, but at the same time, I think had we stuck with what's been working for us all year instead of me kind of switching it up, it might have been different. But at the same time, it's a really good team. So the great thing is that they weren't afraid, and they went for it, and we were in a really good spot, for halfway through that race. So the depth really showed for them, for Grand Valley, to be able to. I think they only put one guy in front of our two, but then they put runners 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in all together. So that came back and was a determining factor for them. But credit to our guys for getting out there and following the race plan. And we had 4 all-conference runners, which is the most we've ever had. We've never been second before, and we actually moved up in the national rankings from that. So it was pretty good day. And I think just the way that they've responded, where initially we were kind of sour. We were like, man, what the heck? But we've never done that before. So it speaks to the culture that we have now of we're not okay just being average or being okay. We want to win. So I think that was kind of really encouraging when I stepped back and looked at it. But, obviously for this weekend, the number one goal is to qualify. I don't care who we lose to or who we beat as long as we're in. So that's kind of what we're looking forward to now. Well, on the women's side to start, we're the most competitive region in the country, and I don't think it started that way at the beginning of the year. But we have 9 teams ranked in the top 25 in our region. And we're 19th in the country on the women's side, but we're 7th in the region. So I was like, oof. So it's going to be unbelievably competitive. But our women are just as good as any of those teams in there. We're talking one runner difference from 3rd to 8th. So that's going to be really exciting. It's going to be very nerve-wracking for me to watch it unfold. But we're in a really good spot where our women have continually just gotten better from, kind of the nightmare that was Michigan State to being 3 points away from second in the GLIAC to a very good Saginaw Valley team. So they've been unbelievably surprising, and I think we're healthy and motivated to see, to get back to the national championships there. So, and then on the men's side, we just need to do what we're capable of, and we should be in a good spot. So I think training the last 10 days or so has been relatively light because we did go really hard at the GLIAC Championships, so we should be pretty fresh, and we should definitely be kind of, really intensely focused for what we're trying to do. So we don't really have anything to prove because we haven't, been here before. We need to go out there and make sure that we keep that fearless attitude when we get to the start line, and I think good things will happen this weekend. Last year it seemed like every time we talked about her, it was the same thing. Like, she's probably the hardest worker that we've had come through, which is a double-edged sword. But it's really starting to pay dividends for her, where at the beginning of the year it didn't start off great for her, and she really kind of stuck to the plan and was pretty patient after those first 2 races, and she's really starting to see the training stack up for her here now. So we're going to need her to be, one of our front runners, hopefully top 10 runner again this weekend if we want to have a good team result, because kind of our weakness on the women's side is the gap after her. So the higher she is up in the race, the better it is for the team score, but we need to make sure our 2, 3, 4 runners are kind of picking up that gap a little bit. So, but yeah, I think all the women ran really, really tough races last week, and with only being 3 points away, who's to say where that could have been made up, but we haven't beaten Saginaw all year, and now we're right on the doorstep of taking them down. And if we beat them, we're probably in to the championships on that side. Last year was the first time we've ever had a team make the championships, which is why it was so exciting. So, yeah, that'd be awesome. And it's kind of, again, to speak to the culture change on both sides, we're getting to a point where it's expected, and if we don't get it, it's a failure, a healthy failure. So I think, with that on the women's side, it's going to probably take at least a top 5 finish, but we know the top 3 teams on each side get auto bids. So we'd rather not be waiting Sunday. That's a terrible feeling. So, we're in control of our own destiny, I guess, when you look at it that way. And if we go out and compete to the best of our ability, we should be pretty solid.